The shepherd. How sweet is the shepherd's sweet lot! From the morn to the evening he strays. He shall follow his sheep all the day, and his tongue shall be filled with praise. For he hears the lamb's innocent call, and he hears the ewes' tender reply. He is watchful while they are in peace, for they know when their shepherd is nigh. Well, seems on the surface a very simple poem about a shepherd, and indeed it is. The poet says at the beginning that how sweet is the shepherd's sweet lot. In other words, he has a sweet or lovely life, lot meaning life or existence, or sort of work, type of work. From the morn to the evening he strays. I love that verb, strays. That suggests that he's not bound by fences, is he? He's not bound by rules and regulations. And I think that if you look through all of the poems in Songs of Innocence and Experience, it's important to note that Blake is very against the idea of rules and regulations, and very for the idea of people straying, of doing things slightly off the beaten path, of doing things that are not what's expected. And certainly when you read the poems, many of them are not what you would expect at all. He shall follow his sheep all the day, so he's just following his sheep, his flock. Now many people have interpreted the shepherd to be a sort of Christ-like figure who is following the people on earth, you know, trying to save them, save their souls. And his tongue shall be filled with praise. And the next line endorses that, or backs that up, doesn't it? We have that powerful rhyme between strays and praise there to emphasize the power of praise. Of course, you know, Jesus' idea was that he was going to sort of praise mankind, praise his sheep, so that they would follow the word of God. For he hears the lamb's innocent call. Now it explains why he is praising people here, and he hears the ewes' tender reply. So we have a picture of the lamb, the children, the young people, and speaking, calling in an innocent way to the ewes, the mothers. So we have a picture there of parenthood, a picture of the perfect type of child-parent relationship, where parents are listening to their children and children are speaking to their parents. He is watchful while they are in peace, so that he's looking over them so that they are okay. While they're in peace, presumably sleeping, he's looking over them. I think that's quite interesting, isn't he? Perhaps he's very caring, for they know when their shepherd is nigh. That last line is quite interesting, isn't it? Where you shift perspective to the actual flock and sheep and ewes, don't you? Through most of the poem we've been looking at the shepherd and what he's doing, but now we're inside the kind of mind of the lambs and the ewes, the flock, and they are feeling that their shepherd is nigh, that their shepherd is close to them. The capitalisation is very important of shepherd there, I think. Again, this is not an ordinary shepherd. This is a shepherd who is someone who is very caring, who is thoughtful, who is a bit kind of zany and wacky. He's straying, isn't he? He's very positive, isn't he? He's praising people. He's seeing the positive side to life. And of course, many people interpret that to being like Jesus Christ, and certainly within the context of the time, if you try and situate the poem in the context of when it was written, that and Blake's own sort of religious beliefs, you would have to say that this poem is very much sort of got a religious significance, ideas behind it. I personally very interested in the kind of power and simplicity of the rhymes, emphasising the um, the messages behind the poem, and that nigh and reply is very important. That Blake believed profoundly that Jesus was within you, that Jesus was not a concept, which not a person that was distant and up in the clouds, that Jesus was within everyone. And he had some very interesting and kind of quite challenging ideas about Christianity. I think many Christians probably wouldn't agree with him, because he almost is beginning to say that Jesus only exists within the human being, and the shepherd is the sort of the voice of Christ within all of us, looking over us and watching over us, and he's the best aspect to us.